Hello and happy midweek greetings from Radically Rational and radicallyrational.com. Okay, take a memo, Maria. Read. The first criminal indictment of a sitting or former United States president. There are a couple of different ways to look at this, and they're both bad for Trump. You can look at it in relative terms, or you can look at it in absolute terms. Relatively speaking, when you look at the freight train of criminal indictments that are going to run over Trump, relatively speaking, this indictment is the caboose. However, Trump and his supporters are still the clown car. Everything is relative. But you can also look at this in absolute terms, and don't tell me this is no big deal. It's a very big deal. It just pales in comparison a little bit to the tidal waves that are coming. But here was a premeditated scheme to defraud, to violate the tax code, perhaps violate campaign finance laws, but absolutely to commit a crime for the purpose of committing another crime. And that purpose was to dishonestly influence a presidential election. Who'd have thought that would happen? And by the way, this was 2016. So obviously the past was indeed prologue. Don't even start with Michael Cohen's a convicted liar. Yeah, okay, but here's the deal. If you look at this objectively, this case is not dependent on Michael Cohen because Trump does what he always does. He makes sloppy ass mistakes, and all of this is documented. And beyond that, are you sure you want to bring the concept of liar into any conversation about the liar in chief? So here comes Donnie Cottontail hopping down the conviction trail. Don't forget to bring your bonnet and your basket, and you can leave your hat on. Trump's motive was clear here. He was trying to dishonestly impact and manipulate the 2016 election. That makes it a violation of the election code. And by the way, I thought the Manhattan DA did a masterful job of connecting the dots yesterday. Now, consider this, even among the most dyed-in-the-wool Trumpers, have you heard one person say that he's innocent? Have you heard one person say that he's guilty? Of course not. They just do what they always do. It's all political and it's no big deal anyway. Nothing's ever a big deal to them, including an attempt to overthrow the government of the United States. It's never a big deal. See, this is a big deal though. It's just that there are even bigger deals to follow. Like, let us count the ways. Being found guilty of rape, even in a civil case, and that's coming, that's a big deal. Stealing, hiding, and continuing to lie about classified documents and thus imperiling the national security of the United States, that's a big deal. Plotting and inciting an attempt to violently overturn an election and overthrow the government of the United States, that's a big deal. Pressuring and even threatening election officials and the Vice President of the United States to break the law, that's kind of a big deal. Attempting to prevent the peaceful transfer of power for the first time in American history, that's a big deal. Now, understand, Trump has no defense on any of these, and they're all documented, so he just does what he always does. He resorts to deflective personal attacks. Once again, let us count the ways. The DA in Manhattan is an animal? Folks, don't even think about trying to explain that. Don't even think about misrepresenting that. Dog whistle. Okay, that's the biggest dog whistle in both human and canine history. We know exactly what animal means. The judge and his family are Trump haters? Where's the documentation on that? The DA in Atlanta is a racist. The special prosecutor, who's got about 400 IQ points on you, Donnie, he's a lunatic. And now Don Jr. is going after the judge's daughter, and you're okay with this. In the weeks and months to follow, Trump is going to be under at least 3 criminal indictments, and personally, I would bet the over. This would be comical if it weren't so pathetic. And the thing is, when you defend Trump, you're not only disrespecting our country's institutions, you are showing no respect for yourself. What self-respecting human being could possibly defend this guy at this point? You might think I'm depressed about this. Not at all. Because when I'm stressed, I resort to my Lockhart High School rudimentary math skills. I can add and I can cipher. Trump is completely unelectable in a general election under any circumstances. And that's even before the further erosion that's going to happen. He can't win. So it's okay with me if the Republicans, the current Republicans, the GOP, the group of prevaricators, it's okay with me if they proceed with their party's suicide pact with my blessing. But under no circumstances is Donald Trump ever going to be president again. And I take heart in that because our republic will survive and it will heal. Okay, I told you I'd think about this yesterday. All right, so I thought about it for about 15 seconds and came to a conclusion. And I don't know why I had any doubt to begin with. So Jill Biden, who I respect Dr. Biden, she comes up with this idea, well, let's invite both LSU and Iowa to the White House. Oh, just hell no. Oh, just hell no. Let me explain something to you because this is just the way it goes, Bruce Hornsby. There's a difference between the national champions and the runners-up. The biggest difference is the champions are the champions and the runners-up are the runners-up. But it also creates a difference in perks as well. You see, the champions go to the White House. The runners-up, they go to Applebee's. And that's just the way of the world, earth, wind, and fire. You know what this reminds me of? Okay, you remember Gus Grissom's Mercury flight with Liberty Bell 7? Going okay, splashes down, the hatch blows. It's been proven conclusively that Gus did nothing wrong. This was not his fault, but he was going to take the fall for it. Okay, so here's what happened. Gus and his wife, Betty, were disinvited to go to the White House. And Betty was particularly disappointed and bitter because she didn't get to meet Jackie. Now, you compare that with the flight that preceded that, Alan Shepard's flight, everything A-OK, baby. And Alan and Louise go to the White House and have a big time. And that's the way this is supposed to work. And by the way, congrats to both LSU's Angel Reese and Iowa's Caitlin Clark for adulting. Young ladies, you handled that magnificently. Congratulations to you. What the hell, Astros? 2-4? At home? All right, one other sports thing here. There are multiple reports, including one by ESPN's Adam Schefter, that the Ravens have offered a contract to OBJ. This doesn't make a lick of sense for either party. So do the Ravens somehow think that by trying to recruit OBJ, they're going to make nice with Lamar Jackson? That ain't happening. And OBJ, what's he thinking? Baltimore is where receivers go to die. Who gonna throw you the football? It'll either be Lamar Jackson or somebody not named Lamar Jackson, and neither one of them is a good thing for you because for all of Lamar Jackson's skills, he's a receiver that has to operate outside the numbers. Okay, for all of Lamar Jackson's skills, the one thing he can't do is throw the ball outside the numbers. If you think that's going to resurrect your NFL career, both you and the Ravens are putting on bad idea jeans. Couple of things. Go to the sports blog, the Our News tab. Go down there. I've got some information on the Arizona Cardinals. They have now gone from hot mess to cesspool. How very Arizona Cardinals of you. And one more thing. If you go to the blog tab and you scroll down, check out the guest column by our buddy, our friend, our pal, our RR collaborator and contributor, Anthony Pittman, who is a genuine, legit boxing historian. Got a fascinating story there, one I think that will move you emotionally and maybe make you think about a few things. It's a shame we don't have any more things to think about right now. We are radically rational.